Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Today we're tackling something that sounds straight out of science fiction, the Antikythera mechanism.
Oh, yeah. That thing's wild.
So, for anyone just tuning in, it's this ancient Greek device discovered in a shipwreck back in 1901.
And get this. It's considered the world's first analog computer.
I know, right? Like, how is that even possible? We're talking about a level of tech that just blows our minds, especially for that time period.
It really throws a wrench into everything we thought we knew about how technology developed.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1901, and these sponge divers are exploring a shipwreck off the coast of Antikythera. It's a Greek island, by the way.
Beautiful place.
They find all the usual stuff you'd expect, ancient pottery, statues, that kind of thing.
Right, the typical shipwreck haul.
And then they come across this lump, like this corroded hunk of bronze and wood.
Doesn't exactly scream groundbreaking invention, does it?
Not at all. But thankfully, someone thought, let's take a closer look.
And thank goodness they did, because what they found inside was incredible. A whole system of gears, all interlocking, like some crazy clockwork.
We're talking dozens of these bronze gears, some of them tiny, like the size of a dime, with teeth so precise, it's mind-boggling.
Seriously, they look like they belong in a modern watch.
And the craziest part is this wasn't just some random decorative thing.
Nope. It had a purpose, and a pretty amazing one at that.
This thing was designed to track the movements of the cosmos.
Yeah, the Antikythera mechanism was basically an astronomical calculator, and a super precise one, too.
So it could predict eclipses, map out the phases of the moon, even chart the movements of the planets.
All of that. Imagine being an ancient Greek astronomer staring up at the night sky, filled with all these mysteries.
And suddenly you have this device in your hands that's like a window into the universe, unlocking all these secrets about time and the heavens.
Exactly. And keep in mind, this is the time of, like, Aristotle, Archimedes, Eratosthenes. We're talking brilliant minds.
Pushing the boundaries of science and philosophy.
But even for them, the Antikythera mechanism seems like this massive leap forward.
Like centuries ahead of its time. Makes you wonder, if they could create something this complex, what else was out there? What other inventions might have existed that we've just lost track of?
It's a tantalizing thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like a glimpse into a whole other world of ancient knowledge. A world we might never fully understand.
Well, on that note, let's dive into the nitty-gritty. How did this thing actually work? I mean, those gears weren't just randomly placed, right?
Definitely not. Each gear represented a specific mathematical ratio, all based on incredibly detailed astronomical observations.
Okay, give us an example.
Well, take the Metonic cycle. It's a 19-year cycle where the sun, earth, and moon all kind of realign.
Right, I've heard of that.
Well, guess what? They built that cycle into the Antikythera mechanism.
No way. So they weren't just observing these things, they were figuring out the math behind them.
Exactly. And get this, they even factored in the little irregularities in the moon's orbit, what's called the Anomalistic month.
Wow, so they were really paying attention to detail.
To an insane degree. They basically took these celestial movements and turned them into a dance of bronze gears. They mechanized the heavens. And the precision of it all. Unheard of for centuries. Think about it. It wasn't until mechanical clocks came along in Europe over 1,500 years later that we saw that level of accuracy again.
It really makes you question the whole idea that technological progress is just this straight upward climb.
It's more like bursts of genius, followed by who knows what, periods of stagnation maybe, lost knowledge. The Antikythera mechanism definitely throws a curveball into that whole narrative.
Okay, so we've got this crazy advanced device for its time, obviously. But here's the thing that really bugs me. Why haven't we found anything else like it? From that same era, I mean.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. Was the Antikythera mechanism just a fluke? Like a one-off creation by some lone genius?
Some ancient tech wizard toiling away in secret?
Well, some scholars do think it might have been the work of someone like Archimedes.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Archimedes was a total rock star, inventing all kinds of crazy stuff.
His inventions were legendary.
But still, they'd create something this complex. I don't know, it seems like it would have taken a whole team, right? Not just one person.
You're probably right. Especially when you look at the precision of those gears.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It had to be made with some pretty sophisticated tools.
Like lathes, for instance.
Exactly. Makes me think there had to be like a whole workshop dedicated to this kind of thing.
Maybe even a school of engineers, passing down their knowledge through generations.
A secret society of ancient gearheads.
It's definitely possible. But if that's the case, why haven't we found any trace of them? No blueprints, no other devices, no written records, anything.
I know, right? It's like they just vanished into thin
It's
air.
a real head-scratcher.
Well, maybe all that knowledge was just lost over time. I
It
mean,
wouldn't be the first time.
think about all the wars, the invasions, natural disasters.
All those things that could wipe out a whole civilization in the blink of an eye.
Right. Yeah, like a fire, an earthquake.
Or a conquering army, poof, gone. And back then, remember, there was no printing press. Everything was written on scrolls, passed down orally.
Super fragile stuff. Easy to lose.
Exactly. So imagine a whole library burning down, or a master craftsman dying without anyone to inherit their secrets.
All those years of knowledge just gone like that.
It's a thought, isn't it?
Definitely makes you realize how fragile human progress can be. We think we're so advanced, but...
But sometimes, knowledge goes backward, or just disappears completely.
And maybe that's what happened with the Antikythera mechanism. It was a flash of brilliance.
A glimpse into a world of lost technology.
A world we may never fully understand. But hey, maybe some of that knowledge wasn't actually lost. Maybe it was hidden.
Hidden.
Yeah, like, what if the technology was considered too dangerous? Or too disruptive to the powers that be?
Okay, now you're getting to conspiracy theory territory.
I know, but it's fun to think about. A secret technology, too powerful for the masses.
Sounds like a movie plot.
Right. But it raises some interesting questions, too, about who controls knowledge and how it gets shared or suppressed.
It's something we still grapple with today, in a way, with censorship and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Makes you wonder what other incredible inventions might be out there just waiting to be discovered.
Or rediscovered.
It's like an ancient treasure hunt.
Okay, so we've talked about the mysteries of the Antikythera mechanism, the lost knowledge, all that. But now, let's jump ahead a few thousand years. Because here's the thing. Even after all this time, we're still learning new things about this device.
That's right. It's like having a conversation with the past, with those ancient Greek inventors who were so far ahead of their time.
And you know what's really helped us to have that conversation? Modern technology.
Oh, absolutely. Modern tech has been a game changer when it comes to understanding the Antikythera mechanism.
Yeah, it's like we have this whole new toolbox to work with.
It's amazing what we can do now. I mean, we can actually look inside the mechanism without even having to touch it.
Wait, how is that even possible? Well, think of it like X-ray vision for ancient artifacts.
Right.
We use things like CT scans, 3D modeling.
Right, I've heard of that.
It lets us create these incredibly detailed images. So we can see all the gears, the inscriptions, even tiny fragments that we might have missed before.
So what have we learned? What are these new techniques revealing?
Well, for starters, we found even more gears and inscriptions, which just add another layer of complexity to this thing.
It was already pretty complex to begin with.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And remember how we talked about the mechanism's ability to track the planets?
Yeah, how could I forget? It's like the coolest feature.
Well, guess what? We now have evidence of a planetary display right there on the front.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously? So they weren't just calculating the movements?
Nope. They were actually visualizing them, probably showing Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The 5 planets you can see with the naked eye.
That is so cool.
And it gets even better. The mechanism didn't just show those planets in their simple orbits.
Oh. What do you mean?
It actually took into account their irregular movements. You know, those weird lipping paths they sometimes make? What astronomers call retrograde motion.
Oh, yeah, right. That messed people up for centuries. They couldn't figure out why the planets would seemingly move backwards sometimes.
It was a really tough concept to grasp back then. And yet, the ancient Greeks managed to build it into this device.
Wow. It makes you wonder, did they have a better understanding of the cosmos than we give them credit for?
It's definitely possible. The Antikythera mechanism keeps challenging our assumptions about what the ancients knew.
And it's not just about the past either. This thing is still inspiring us today.
Absolutely. It's like a spark that keeps igniting curiosity and creativity.
I mean, think about all the people who've been captivated by the Antikythera mechanism. Scientists, engineers, artists, they've all been drawn to its mystery.
And a lot of them have tried to recreate it, to build their own versions, using ancient techniques or modern technology.
It's like a tribute to the ingenuity of those ancient inventors.
Yeah, and it's not just about replicating the past either. It's pushing us to think differently about mechanics and engineering.
To see what's possible.
Exactly. And in a way, it's connecting us to those ancient Greeks, like we're having a conversation across time.
A conversation about human ingenuity and the power of exploration.
And about the mysteries that still lie hidden, waiting to be discovered.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the Antikythera mechanism.
Sad to see it end, but what a journey.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About all the amazing things that humans are capable of.
And about all the things we still don't know.
Exactly. So keep exploring, keep questioning, keep that sense of wonder alive. Who knows what other incredible discoveries are out there just waiting to be found?
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to make the next big breakthrough. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep those gears turning.